Hi, welcome to day 3 of Victory over Discouragements. For day 3, we want to talk about some steps that we can take. Firstly, be realistic. Understand that discouragement is part of life and often is a result of things or events that are really out of our control. This does not mean that we are failures. If we are not realistic and would like to keep the universe under control, then it is quite a painful thing, especially if you want everything to be perfect according to your will. If we are not careful, such discouragements may cause even bodily ailments. What happens in the mind may manifest itself through bodily pain or sickness at times. Some people tell me that it is so. Secondly, give your discouragements to God. When we have confidence in Him, we gain confidence in ourselves. You see, God already saw the events before we do. There's a verse that might be helpful: casting all your cares upon Him, for He cares for you. 1 Peter 5:7. Casting our cares on God takes a great amount of trust and humility. We need to give Him all of our cares, all of our worries, not just the ones that we think are big enough or important enough. Cast all your discouragements on Him. God will even shoulder the cares, burdens that we have brought on ourselves, by ourselves. We can give them all to Him. His shoulders are big enough to carry all of our fears, worries, and troubles. When we give our cares to God, we can brush off our discouragement and get back to work. That's what, brothers and sisters, we have much to do for God. Thirdly, we have to rethink goals. When we are faced with discouragement, it might be a time to take a step back, slow down, and rethink the goals that we have in life or in ministry. Pray and ask God for a fresh direction. After hitting the wall a few times, it might be that that's not the way to go. After prayer and consideration of God's will and your own gifts and opportunities, make plans for an optimistic future. Brainstorm these goals with your cell group members, CG members, fellowship, over a cup of afternoon tea or coffee with some cakes. Fourth, don't think about the what ifs. Stop considering what might have been. This kind of thinking will usually bring only defeat. Fifth, don't focus on feelings. Stop using feelings to determine how to handle discouragement. Feelings can change drastically with our mood. If we are those that the so-called emo type, especially, then don't rely on your emo. I mean, you look at a lake that is frozen over. Your emotion might tell you that the ice can take your weight. But whether the ice over the frozen lake can take your weight or not doesn't depend on your emo. It depends on the fact. The facts of the thickness of the ice, the speed, the way we walk over the ice, and of course our weight. While our feelings may direct us, Step back and think. Perhaps it's time to let the facts, the truth, lead us. And in the area of truth, may that include God's truth to lead us, even though emotionally we may feel that that's not the way to go. Let God's word guide us. We must focus on change and doing it with God's help and God's word. 6. Keep a journal. You may call your journal by your own interesting names, or if not, then call it discouragements that became encouragements. Document each discouragement and what was done with God's help to turn it around. It might take years for you to look back and see that actually there was something of God's will in that situation. 7. Be ready. Be ready for what God may have in mind for you. When you have confidence in God, you will gain confidence in yourself. This will be a huge step toward overcoming discouragement. Now, to answer the question on why I failed my driving 3 times. In 1986, I started my driving test, but subsequently, I went through at least 3 more, and I did not get my driving license until 6 years. 6 years after my first test. So from 1986 to 1992, I was a student. I remember sitting in the car and then the driver, the private tutor, says, "You know, Sam, look at your name. Your name appears at the front of this student logbook." Then he flipped many pages, and then all the students have already graduated in this 5 years plus 6. And my name is right in front of the book. And in between are all the students that passed. That might be a situation that will cause discouragement. It was definitely discouraging for me. In fact, I was so discouraged, I did not want to continue anymore. And my tutor said, book the test. I said, okay, just book the test. Then he said that, you need to book practice sessions before the test. Then I said, no need, forget about it, I don't have the money. Just book the test. Of course, he kindly offered to lower his rates to $10 an hour, just to $10, $20 an hour. I forgot the exact amount, but it was really very low. I mean, by today's standards, even 20 is very low an hour. And as I look at it, can I practice these steps or not? Be realistic. Okay, not all pass the first or second time. Give discouragement to God. Cast my cares on Him. Rethink goals. Know what ifs. What if I did not do that U-turn that led to the immediate failure? Don't focus on feelings. Keep a journal. Be ready. But there's one thing I look back and I still think that it is a discouraging circumstance. But as I think back for those 6 years that I was a student under the tutor, there's something encouraging that happened, which I think today when I look back overrides every year of discouragement during those 6 years. It was once I was finishing a lesson near the Bukit Timah Hawker Center, and the car stopped at the petrol station that is near the hawker center. And then, I mean, we have known each other for so long. I mean, 5 years, 6 years. And I sat in the car. Sometimes we talk during the lesson, but I remember on that day when the lesson finished, for 45 minutes, my tutor and me, driving instructor, was in the car, and I shared the gospel, the full EE outline, everything, examples, for 45 minutes in a car. He said at the end that he would consider. I'm happy that he said that he will consider. I can see that he was sincere, because on his dashboard, on the dashboard are all the gods that he was worshipping. And as he said that he will consider, I can feel that he really did consider, because we spent much time talking, even after I shared with him the invitation. Brothers and sisters, our best word. May God speak to you in your discouragement. Cast your cares upon Him. See you for day